These are the worksheets you're working on today, equivalent fractions. You have a worksheet on simplest form, and you have a worksheet on improper fractions and mixed numbers. The last one is least common multiple and greatest common factor. We're going to review two concepts that you're going to review today on your worksheets. The first worksheet that you're going to work on has to do with equivalent fractions. The way to make equivalent fractions is to simply multiply or divide. I'm going to show you how you can multiply and make equivalent fractions. Whenever you multiply, you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So if I multiply them both by 3, I then would create an equivalent fraction of 6/9. Now, if I had 6/9 and I was looking at this number by itself, I could put it back in simplest form by simply dividing. So I would then take 6/9 and I would divide it by a common factor that they both have in common, which you could see would be 3. And when I divide them both by 3, notice how our fraction then goes back to where we started, which is 2/3. So I brought our fraction to simplest form, and I also showed how to make equivalent fractions by simply multiplying or dividing. The next worksheets you have to do with improper fractions and mixed numbers. So let's quickly review. An improper fraction is whenever the numerator is greater than the denominator, and we have what is called an improper fraction. We then can change that improper fraction to what is known as a mixed number. A mixed number usually has a whole number and a fraction. Remember that a fraction is a division problem. So this is really saying 12 divided by 5. So we know that 5 can go into 12 at least 2 times. Leaves us with the remainder 2. So our answer here is 2 remainder 2. What we do is we take our whole number here, and that whole number becomes our whole number in our mixed number. The remainder becomes your numerator, and because we're dividing by 5, that denominator stays the same as our original fraction, and so now we change it into a mixed number of 2 2/5. And you can also change a mixed number back to an improper fraction, and by doing this, you would simply go kind of work in a circle. And so what you would do is say 5 times 2 is 10, and then you add that to your numerator, and 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12, and the denominator stays the same. So you can go back and forth of changing numbers from improper fractions to mixed number, or mixed numbers back to an improper fraction. Hopefully this video helped you with the worksheets that you have to do today. Worksheet, you are looking for least common multiple and greatest common factor. So I'm going to quickly go over how do you find multiples and how do you find factors. And you will have to read the directions on the worksheet. All right, so least common multiple. When we talk about multiples, we're thinking of multiples of number. Two factors that are multiplied together make multiples. So if I wanted to know the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 6, I would simply know that multiples start with 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. I'll stop there. The multiples of 6 would be 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5, and 6 times 6. Oops, 36. Excuse me. All right, so if I was looking for the least common multiple, I could see that they both make 12, and that would be my least common multiple. Greatest common factor, you're looking for factors. So I think in class we've done this. Let's find all the factors of 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4, and those are all of our factors. So then I would write them from least to greatest: 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. Those would be all of my factors 416. You would then choose whichever was the greatest common factor that it had if I put it with another number. I hope this helps you today. I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm down in the media center. I expect you to work quietly. I will see you tomorrow.